We are back after a week off, our only week off for NASCAR coverage here at Proline TV. And that's fine with us as we enter Bristol week, the Food City 500. We got back-to-back short tracks, a week off in between. CJ Radune, of course, is with me as always from rotowire.com. And CJ, we were keeping our fingers crossed going into the first short track of the year with increased horsepower, another off season that would help. And I don't think we got a lot of help.
Yeah, what used to be a pretty exciting racetrack, defined by tire wear and close racing and all that good kind of stuff. Talking about Bristol here. I suspect even with these new rules is going to, be another exercise in dominance like we've seen in the past couple of races. I think the last 3 Bristol races, you had somebody, the winner, lead a minimum of 80 laps. That's very much what we saw at Martinsville. I was very hopeful that something different would happen, but really it was the Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin show. And then in all reality, about 75% of it was the Denny Hamlin show and 25% of it was the Chase Elliott show.
Yeah, it really was the Denny Hamlin show. And then we got the cautions just were perfectly aligned for Chase. And look, Denny made a mistake. Denny had that restart, that poor restart, and that doomed him. And if he didn't have that poor restart, he wins the race. But that's all it takes sometimes is just one bad slip up. And Chase Elliott was able to take advantage and hold him off. So big win for Chase. We'll see what that does for him the rest of the season. But yeah, that's not what we want to see. And now we come to a racetrack where we get those types of dominant performances. And that means we got to try to see if we can find a driver who can do that. And there are several, because this is not a week to take long shots. That's for sure. So, I mean, half the field here is just forget it. No chance.
Yeah, it's interesting looking back at the stats. The last 5 races, the winner has started from the first 2 rows. Only once did they start lower or outside of the top 10. And then you've got to go back to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 9 out of the last 10 races, 8 of the last 10 have started inside the top 5. 9 of the last 10 have started inside the top 10. So in all likelihood, you're going to be looking at somebody that's starting inside the top 10 is a traditional Bristol contender, and somebody obviously that looks very fast in both practice and qualifying.
Yeah, that's definite. You need to keep an eye on. This is just one of those deals where whoever has a really good day on Saturday, and there's going to be a few of them, and those are going to be the drivers. One of those drivers, more than likely, is going to have a dominant performance on Sunday. So we'll talk more about that on Saturday's qualifying report. If you want to check that out. We've usually been going on here early evenings on Saturday because I'm able to get the odds and we can go over them and then give you some updated analysis from there. So we'll definitely do that. All right, well, let's do it. So again, the Food City 500, who do you think should be the favorite?
I'm guessing it's going to be Denny Hamlin just based on his short track domination.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle Larson is up there, though, because we know that Kyle Larson, regardless of where he goes, tends to be the favorite. And there we go.
Yeah.
You got to stop asking me who I think should be and just asking me who is.
Yes. All right. This will be a little bit more difficult. Who's next?
Well, you could go with Christopher Bell since he was one of the winners last year. He's been a little bit soft this season. But I'm gonna say Blaney, actually.
You would be right.
Nice.
And the thing with Blaney is this is really just about 2 things. 1, his performance at Bristol lately, and 2, his performance in the series lately. So it looks like he's finally getting and look, Bristol, you do have to have, this is one of those tracks. You have to have knowledge. You got to know what's going on. Tight corner. Everything is experience. on specific tracks, and this is one of them. And so it looks like Ryan's got enough experience now, because you have to be also a very patient driver out there. And early on in his career, he was not very patient and would get himself in trouble when he had fast cars. So now he's able to compensate and put himself in position to win races, even though he's still a long way off and probably shouldn't be 6-1. But I will say this, when you take a look and we go over some of the stats, once we start getting out of the favorites, there's not many of these contenders. There's not much after these contenders. There's even a big gap, really, if you think about it. I think, like, for instance, William Byron is the 6th choice at 10-1. Get this, okay? And he's never led a lap at Bristol. And he's the 6th choice. So that's going to tell you all you need to know about this. Is just look, there's another major event going on this week in professional sports called the Masters. And I finished going over what it takes to win at the Masters, and history says you better be a damn good golfer to win at the Masters. You have to be one of the best players on the planet. And that's what it's like at Bristol this week. The best of the best, and that's it. Whoever's the best here is going to compete and do well here. And that's it. And it's unfortunate. It's another thing that I think maybe it's not, and because that's probably the thing that what's going on is that ever since this track got so boring, we've had this influx of the next wave of drivers at NASCAR and the Cup Series. And so all these new drivers coming in from the next gen and so forth, just at the time that the track has kind of slipped off. And that's what you get. You get a whole bunch of new drivers that just can't drive here yet. And then only that little group that can. And it's not a week to make a lot of money. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the stats for each of these drivers, you got every single one of them leading over 100 laps, barring Blaney. But Blaney, like we talked about, has really stepped it up at this track most recently. He hasn't led more than 100 laps since the new generation of cars come out, but he wasn't getting good finishes back then either. The last 3 races, 6th, 5th, and 4th, he started on the front row in the fall, led 78 combined laps in the 2 races last year. You got Denny Hamlin, who's led 400 laps in 2 out of the last 3 races at this. I'm sorry, Kyle Larson, that's led 400 laps in 2 out of the last 3. Denny Hamlin, 2-time winner out of the last 5. So we're talking about the dominators of Bristol right here in this small group. And I agree, they're going to be the ones that get this track regardless of what the conditions are like and how things kind of unfold. And they're the ones that have the patience and have the experience to navigate the 500 laps here.
Interesting that if you're looking at, I guess one thing we could also break down even further if you want to go this route, and that would be maybe to not look at Ryan Blaney this week because he's driving a Ford. And Blaney, I think he led 48 laps last year
in the spring race. Yep.
In the spring race. And I think if we look at it, if you look in total, Ford had in both races last year, Ford did not perform well at all. And Blaney was the only one that had like a little bit of a pulse because of the 48 laps he led in the spring race. And I know he led some laps in the night race, but overall they did nothing. They didn't do anything in qualifying. They didn't even in practice. I think was a little bit better than qualifying, but they also didn't do much in the race. So Ford, look, if you're going to take a Ford, really, I think the only one to look at is Blaney. But, you know, it's kind of tricky to go with a driver who does not have a ton of laps and great results over his career. And he's driving a manufacturer that has not been good here lately. That's the trick. If you're taking a look at Ryan Blaney, and the couple of the drivers here to start off with, this is what he's got to go up against. I mean, Kyle Larson, 11 top 10s in his last 13. 8 top 5s, 3 runner-ups, 3 wins. That's right, 3 runner-ups and 3 wins. during that stretch. Hamlin, 13 career top fives and 4 wins, 7 straight top 10 with 4 top fives, a runner-up, and 2 wins. The only thing with Hamlin, though, and this is why I think I'm going to pass on Hamlin this week on a Tuesday. Again, we'll see what happens on Saturday, is the fact, and maybe I should just put it out there now, because it may not matter what he does on Saturday. And that's because in his last 7 races at Bristol, he's got an average starting position of 4.1. And I told you about the 7 straight top 10s. But the thing I'm a little bit concerned with is the last 3 races. Even though he has 2 top 5s, he's only led 3 laps. So we're always looking to nitpick when we bring it down to these 2 or 3 really good drivers. And if I'm going to nitpick Denny Hamlin, then that's what I have to do. I have to say that Kyle Larson looks like the clear favorite in this one to me.
I think that is a very strong observation, and one that I didn't necessarily consider. The way that I was approaching it was that it's clearly going to be between Toyota and Chevrolet here. What I know from 2026 is that Chevrolet, specifically Hendrick, has had a really hard time with this new body. It took up until last week for them to get a win. I don't know the last time that they've gone that long at the start of a season without winning a race. And Elliott didn't come out and dominate.
No.
Where Hendrick has been good, they have a chance, but they're still kind of that step off of Toyota. So for me, despite the fact that Kyle Larson's been the dominant one here, leading 400 plus laps in 2 out of the last 3 races, I was leaning more toward Toyota, which leaves me with Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell. And I just, with Hamlin's performance last week, 290, almost 300 laps out of 400 led at Martinsville, consistently strong on the short tracks. That's why I was leaning toward him. So your observation is equally as valid, though. It's more a question, I think, as to which side of the coin is it going to land when you flip it, basically.
Well, maybe more so, instead of looking at what Hamlin does, if he qualifies well, let's see a couple of things. Maybe does Hamlin not qualify well? Maybe does he qualify 13th, 14th? And it's like, what's that about? And then what happens if Larson's on the pole? Because you're right, Chevy's behind. But what happens if Larson has a dominant day on Saturday? Chances are that will wind up meaning he's going to have a really good Sunday.
Without a doubt. And keep in mind, they did have this past off week to go back and reassess what is going on. They just won, so perhaps they figured some stuff out. So Hendrick absolutely is going to close the gap. It's just a question of when. Exactly as you said, if Kyle Larson comes out and puts it on the front row, I think, unless it's Denny Hamlin beside him, I think we know we're going with Kyle Larson. But it's same. If Hamlin qualifies poorly, it's probably going to be that Larson on the front row. So I think with both of these odds, 400 and 550, Larson might drop to 250 or something.
Yes,
like Hamlin would as well.
Yeah,
that's a lot, but it's still better than flipping a coin here today on Tuesday without having anything else to go on.
Because I'm not too concerned with a lot of other drivers, I think this is one of those rare weeks that I think the play might just be take both Larson and Hamlin and go with both of them. In other words, put
that's a good strategy too, because what other week are you going to
$100 on both of them? One of them wins, you make your money.
Yeah, exactly right. And what other week are you going to get Larson or Hamlin and one of them not be less than 400, especially at a short track?
Yeah, because again, you got to do it now, because like you said, once it's Saturday, these guys do well, they're going to get those odds are cutting in half, and then I'm not doing it anymore. So you got to do it now for it to pay off.
Agreed.
Okay. So, you mentioned Bell. The reason, look, the thing with Bell is he's got to win. He won it in September. So he's got the night race win, and he really has played his best, raced his best in his last 6 races, all top 10s, with 4 top 5s and a win. But the only thing I'm concerned with Bell is he's only led 12 laps in the last 3 races. And his win in the night race last year was where he had all 12 of his laps. And on a short track, 12 laps is nothing. Yep. So that would concern me for a driver at 7-1, which again, he's close enough to Hamlin and Larson for me to go, well, why would I take Christopher Bell if I could take Hamlin and Larson,
Yeah, completely agree with that. Plus the fact that the beginning of the season, he's just not been up there with Hamlin. He's just not found it yet. And again, nitpicking because he's consistent top 10 and he's going to be up there and he's going to figure it out as well. But right now, I'm willing to take the other week when, like you said, if you take the strategy of Larson and Hamlin today, again, why would you go with Bell?
Okay, now I mentioned Byron. 2 career top 5s out of 13 races, never led a lap. Average starting position is 11th, average finishing position 16th. This is just absolutely not a week to take William Byron. As I can see, you're getting 0 value here. Ty Gibbs, on the other hand, I'd still like better than 9-1 for a driver that's never won a cup race before, but he is red hot to start the season, as we know. And I don't know, you get the feeling that if he's going to win a race, that the way he's going, maybe this is it. And 9-1 may not be too bad. He led 201 laps in the night race in September and also led over 100 laps in 2 other races over his career in the Cup Series at this track. So, yeah, I think the only knock would be his odds. And then we take a look at Elliott and Briscoe, and I'm definitely going to have a hard pass on Chase because he's never won here and only has 5 laps in his last 6 races. So coming off a win, not interested. But Chase Briscoe is interesting because even though he only has 1 top 5 in 7 career races, all of his success has happened in his last 3 visits to Bristol, sort of like Blaney, where he's finished 9th, 4th, and 8th and led 127 laps last year. And I think it was in the night race. And I believe he started 31st in that race, which is very unusual. So Chase Briscoe might have something going on here, even though we also know that he's been off to a real sluggish start to the season. And he's been a little bit better lately, but still his results are nowhere near where we expect them to be eventually.
Agreed. Out of this group, you got to go with Chase Briscoe, though, because of his odds being 14-1. The other one that he'd be going head-to-head against is Ty Gibbs. And you're getting significantly more payout by going with Briscoe, somebody that led 127 laps here in the fall. And you commented on his starting position as well. Last year, he didn't qualify better than 14th at Bristol. He started 14th and 31st, yet finished 4th and 9th. So if he's able to qualify inside of the top 10, I think that's, half the game for him this weekend. He can turn that in easily to a top 5 run, if not a chance for the potential win. Same issues with Byron and Elliott. Elliott going 2 weeks in a row, I think, would be a stretch. And you got the Hendrick Chevrolet issue getting on top of that as well. Ty Gibbs would be the one that I would take next to Briscoe. I feel like he's showing enough at this point that this is going to be the season that he gets his first win. It's just a question of when. Like you said, it could very well come here at Bristol. Led 201 laps in the fall race. Started 6th and 4th at this track last year, finished 3rd and 10th. So very much within his wheelhouse and something that he could get this weekend as well. So I'm almost to the point where give me a little bit of money on Gibbs each week, just because I'm that confident based on the way that he's starting this season, that at some point this year, he's going to get a win.
Yeah. If you can get future money on Gibbs for races, absolutely do it. Okay. Next group here. And now we're starting to get to the point where there's some warning signs. And matter of fact, right at the top, not only because Logano is driving a Ford, but boy, has he been terrible in the next gen at this track. He's got an average finish of 23.3 and an average start of 21.1. Now, the only hope is that he did have a 5th in September. Maybe that'll get him going. But he's only led 14 laps in his last 10 races at Bristol. So I'm not interested in Joey Logano, but who I would be interested in for potential long shots to do something would be Keselowski and Hocevar, because Keselowski, he's got 3 wins in his career. He had a really good run with Penske at this track. But recently in next gen, he's actually had his moments. He was second in September from the 18th position, led 33 laps. He has 2 top 5s total in 6 races in next gen, and over 140 laps led as well. Hocevar, meanwhile, was 7th in September and led 26 laps from the 12th position. And he's raced here 5 times. He was 11th in his first race, then 27th. And since the 27th, he has gotten better each time out, including the 7th in September. Forget Reddick as well. He's in the boat with Logano. He has a terrible history. Matter of fact, at least Logano's got some history with Penske, but Reddick's got nothing, 0. Another week that you just got to pass on Tyler Reddick. And again, all you have to look at her odds to know, because if Tyler Reddick is 30-1 when he's gotten off to such a great start, you know that he has no positive history at a racetrack. So I would keep an eye on Keselowski and Hocevar.
Yeah, and I would give the nod to Hocevar here, actually, if he doesn't get driven through again. 18th, 11th, and 7th in his last 3 races. He's got one other 11th out of his last 5 here at Bristol, and his qualifying has been really good as well. The last 3 races started 7th, 9th, and 12th, and he led 26 laps in the fall, even led 2 laps in the spring race. So I think Hocevar is a good way to go, especially considering that Spire with their Chevrolets, they haven't seemed to have the same problems that Hendrick has. So Spire actually took a step forward in 26, where Hendrick was struggling to get out of the gate. So I think that gives Hocevar the advantage here. I do like the Keselowski pick as well. Came runner-up here in the fall after starting 18th. We've talked multiple times this season so far about how well he started this season. Led 33 laps in that fall race as well. So I would see that RFK strength from Keselowski showing itself again this weekend. It's going to be really tough for him to come forward and win. But I think a top 5, top 10 certainly should be within reach for him.
All right, next group. And out of these drivers here, I don't recommend anybody. This is what we're talking about. There's just nothing here. I guess out of this group, if I had to pick someone, I would pick Buescher, because he started off next gen really strong. 3 top 10s, 2 top 5s, and a win. But in his last 3 races, he's finished outside the top 10 and not led a lap. But he's definitely better than what we've seen out of the other 3 drivers, who I really want nothing to do with here.
Yeah, I think Buescher kind of needs a reset. We've seen some good, promising signs from him earlier in the season, had a couple of rough results, came back in Las Vegas and Darlington, 2 top 10s. But then slipped back again and was kind of anonymous at Martinsville. So I think this week off could be very pivotal for Buescher to be able to take those bright spots he had in the early races where he got off and led, showed some competitiveness and turned that into more consistency throughout an entire race. Definitely wouldn't go with Busch. Busch needs a complete reset overall, like his entire team. Just stuff is not working there wholesale. But out of the bunch, yeah, I think Buescher probably would be the best bet. And I'm hopeful, for his sake, that they were able to take this off week and turn it into something good. He did finish 11th despite starting 21st in the fall. So that's saying something. But again, needs to get some work done here.
Okay, moving on to the next group. And Bubba, I tell you what Bubba did to Hocevar at Martinsville was one of those things where I think it's going to be in my head now anytime I'm putting my fantasy team together. And I'm going to be like, nah, I'm not taking Bubba. I don't trust him. I mean, what stupidity. I mean, that guy needs to have a talking to, especially with everything going on positively with the team this season, including himself. For him to do something so stupid like that. Now, I hope he's got it. I mean, I can't imagine Michael Jordan is going to keep his mouth shut. So, but I just can't trust the guy now. And he's not really performed well here. So I don't expect anything to change because his momentum is all of a sudden starting to slip lately. Small sample, but we'll see. Cindric has been surprisingly very disappointing here in his career so far in the Cup. I'm sure they'd be delighted with a top 10. Maybe get one of those would be a good start. Maybe lead a few laps, but he's driving a Ford, and that's been an issue as well. And Berry also driving a Ford, and things have not looked well for him here either. Zane Smith is actually the one that has looked better than these other drivers because he was third in September from the 24th position. And he also has a good record in the truck series, which is still strange for me to think that they drive trucks at Bristol, but they do. So anyway, I guess I'd take Zane Smith in this group, but it's just not a very good group.
It's not a good group. I think Zane Smith is a very good choice. I'd be willing to go with Austin Cindric just because of we've been talking about him as having a strong start to the season, and then he finally backed it up in Martinsville, a place where he had a lot of success, had a really strong finish there as well. So I think Cindric and that team are figuring things out. And if you look specifically at his fall race last year, he qualified third. So they were able to find speed for one lap. He got out there, led 10 laps actually in the race, ended up finishing 30th, so was probably involved in some kind of incident there. But I'd be willing to go with Cindric on that. Zane Smith, I think, is a confident choice. Started 24th in the race that he finished third in, so he was able to work his way forward. And I completely agree with you. Wallace was so disappointing because he was on such a hot streak. We were talking about him with Gibbs, and in fact, he had the momentum over Gibbs. It was really one race where he had a problem that wasn't even his fault at Darlington that took him out. And Martinsville could have been and should have been the spot where he brought it back. And I think he was running pretty well until, or at least had some speed in the car and showed it until he decided to drive through the back of Hocevar. So yeah, I think his team probably gave owner or whoever the right person is over there gave him a good dose of reality. I think he kind of threw his own momentum into the trash can there, unfortunately. We'll see how it takes him to get it back.
Yeah, and again, I still feel good about Cindric as a nice future play. I'm sure his number's still pretty big because he, like you said, he's starting to get it now. Back-to-back top 10s coming in. Again, the only thing that concerns me is the Ford. But hey, top 10, that's all he needs. He needs top 10. And I'm sure that will be a very positive showing. And then as far as the rest of these other big long shots, the only ones that stick out, I mean, Justin Allgaier sticks out just because of the fact that just not because he's driving Bowman's car, but because in his career, he has a very good record in the O'Reilly series with 12 top fives in 26 races and a couple of wins. So maybe he could have a good showing this week in better equipment. AJ Allmendinger, he sticks out because of the fact that last year he finished 9th in the spring race and then led 24 laps from the pole in the night race and then ended up finishing 36 because of a steering issue on lap 408, I think it was. Eric Jones and Ricky Stenhouse have had good careers here, but not with their new teams. It's been a while, and those were different times with different teams, and that's the reason why you're getting big numbers with those drivers. So that would be it for me. There's nobody else that really sticks out.
Yeah, I think Stenhouse would be the one that I would go with. 2nd and 11th last year in terms of qualifying. Led 5 laps in the fall race, so he's got speed, as you said, throughout his career. Bristol has been a pretty good place for him, and I wouldn't put any money on him to win, but I will say again that SVG, another near top 10 last week or 2 weeks ago at Martinsville, he's figuring out these ovals as we come back the second portion of this season. I think SVG is going to be even stronger.
Okay, let's go ahead with our picks now. And I have the first pick this week. So I think we're just going to go back to our original discussion at the top: Larson or Hamlin. And so I'll take Larson.
All right, that leaves me Hamlin. That makes it easy.
Yep. Okay. Then I'll go ahead and take Gibbs.
Now you make it hard on me. I'll take Briscoe then.
Yep. That's the direction I would have gone. And then the long shots, I think it's down for me to 2 drivers, Hocevar and Keselowski, and I'll take Keselowski.
You make it easy for me then as well, because I will take Hocevar, because those were the 2 on my radar.
That's it. So I think we could have switched depending on who had the first pick. If you had the first pick, we could have, well, then again, we might have had the same picks, but it's like, this is like plan B would have been the very next group of picks for both of us.
Agreed.
So I don't think there's a whole lot more to go on with that. We hope in a way we're wrong, and we'll have more excitement, more unknown factor taking place. I mean, are they going to do anything that we're not aware of yet? Like, you know, how they put that crap on the pavement to try to make it. Is there any of that shenanigan stuff going to take place? Do you know?
Not yet that I am aware of. Not that I've seen any reports on. Just that, you know, Goodyear's got the softer tire as per the direction of the rules. We've got more horsepower. Boy, I hope they don't decide to start screwing around with the track. Let's give these rules an actual chance to see if they make an impact or not, without throwing any other variables into it. So, and we'll see by the time we get there. But, you know, hopefully with this extra horsepower and even softer tire, I think Denny Hamlin's right, though. He said it on his podcast. We need to go even higher on the horsepower to be able to really make a difference. And I think that is the key. We've seen that pay off at other tracks in the past. That's got to be the case here at Bristol as well. My only concern is temperature. I don't know what the weather is supposed to be like, but I think the last couple of races at Bristol, when it's been cold, it's been a really good race. When it's been warm, it's been really boring.
Uh-oh. It's going to be warm.
There we go. So,
because it's in my backyard, and yeah, they're expecting 75 degrees.
Yeah, we'll see then. Hopefully the rules package makes a big difference. We didn't see it at Martinsville. You know, fingers crossed we see it here at Bristol.
That's all we can do. All right. So what's after this? What do we got coming up?
After this, we go to Kansas and then Talladega and Texas.
Kansas. Oh, Talladega. Oh, Texas. That's not good.
Yeah.
Kansas.
The other 2 I'm looking forward to, but
Kansas has been okay.
Yeah, Kansas has been okay. It's not been a Las Vegas, but it's been better than others, better than Texas for sure. But so Kansas and Talladega should be good. Texas will probably be a snoozer.
Yeah, let's see. I'm just quickly going over the notes from last year, Kansas, and not good. No, Hamlin dominated in the fall, but then that's when a caution came out late, and things got better because of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm remembering, the caution period. Then, well, hopefully,
and then the spring, that was the fall. In the spring, it wasn't good. I've got here the track was not good at all.
Well, hopefully get some incidents, some cautions, spice things
up. Well, that's next, right? Kansas, you said?
Kansas is next after.
Okay. Well, that's a new year, so you never know. Anything's possible. So, okay, that's next week. We'll do it again. Don't forget to check out on Saturday. I will have the qualifying report, practice report, and so forth. So that'll be very important to take a look and see which drivers had a really good day. And then we'll know a lot more about Sunday. And then we'll also have a link in the description of the video for your DFS report from rotowire.com, which comes out on Friday, correct?
We'll have that on Friday at rotowire.com, and we'll have the link in this video. And wish everybody luck. Hopefully Bristol is a good one. Really got my hopes for this rules package, so don't let me down. We'll see how it goes.
You know the answer to that question.
I do, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, that'll wrap it up. We'll see you next week, CJ.
Have a good one. Thanks for having me.